Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. My name's Troy Hardy with the Auckland Rugby League, and welcome into the Hornets Nest. We've got a big game today as Howick Hornets are up against the guests who are coming in from West Auckland, Glenora Bears, and it's going to be a fabulous clash. Before we get to all of that, though, we're going to catch up with Denny Allen. I've got the name right, and he's a big unit. He'll join me very shortly. And Denny's the co-chairman down here at the Hornets Nest, and we'll find out what's going down at the club. Just after that, Corey Rosser, the main caller for today's action. We'll catch up with the head coaches for both of the sides, and we'll be finding out, a little bit of insight in both teams as we get ready for today's kick-off at 2:30. Don't go too far away. The chairman of the club with us very shortly. So welcome back, ladies and gentlemen, with the co-chair of the club here at the Howick Hornets, Denny Allen. Denny, you've got bigger, mate, since we last saw one another. Denny, what's going down at the club, mate? What's happening here?
Oh, mate, we're just obviously here to enjoy some footy. We've got a great day for it, and so our focus today is obviously on the Root Rooster Challenge that, Glenora are here. They're ready to go, and we're ready to defend it. We're a proud club, so we want to try and keep it here. Yeah. Jeffro's 100th game today. He's our captain, and it's a special event for us. So, obviously, with the TV game, we're very excited. Yeah.
Good on you, mate. So big congratulations to Jethro Friend, and we'll play homage to him a wee bit later. Yep. But in regards to the club, you've touched on it's a Root Rooster clash, and last week, probably coming out the back end of a. How'd you feel about last week? Want to talk about that? Or?
Oh, look, it was tough. And we realised if that was a home game, then we would have lost the Root Rooster. Right. But I think it's really important to understand that this top 8 is a really strong 8. And the Fox Premiership this year is throwing up all sorts,
absolutely.
Which is good for the game, because we've had the last few years where we kind of know who's going to be there or thereabouts. So we've been pushing really, really hard to try and be in the mix for a long time, and it's starting to pay off for us. And it's all mixed up a little bit, and I like that. I think that's good for footy.
Good stuff. Yeah. Glenora obviously will come in with a wee bit of momentum from last week's game. Yeah. That said, though, you sort of indicated around the change in the format of the SAS Fox Memorial, so you're enjoying it.
I am enjoying it. I have to say it's harder to plan. That's one thing, because we don't know what the draw is until the first round's complete.
Yep.
But apart from that, like I say, it's thrown up all sorts of anomalies, and it's fantastic for the sport. So, yeah, excellent.
Cool. Howick Hornets, you have a lot of good, strong support down here with volunteers and what have you, and also sponsors.
Yeah.
And, one of the things that I think the club should be very proud of is the amount of hard work that goes into looking after sponsors and how important they are. So, mate, let's give some love to the sponsors, and it's good that we're on the live stream to be able to do it out there. Mate, who do you want to acknowledge?
Oh, mate, I want to acknowledge you first, mate, for this whole thing. The live stream has given us all an avenue of exploring our game and all the different avenues, and really being able to put it out there. So with us, we have got some really strong sponsors. Starts with Progressive Scaffolding, our main sponsor, and then we've got PIC Insurance. They've been with us for a number of years. They're a short sponsor. Same with SDS Storage.
Yep.
Brad from BSR Concrete is a life member, and he's proudly been on our jersey for a number of years, so ups to Brad, and former Premier player here. So McCamish Metals, once again, they've been with us for a long time. And then every one of our Premier players' numbers have a jersey sponsor, so that's a point of difference for us, and this is a really good opportunity and vehicle for us. So have I got a moment? Can I
go. Let's rip into it.
Look, number one, warm up, they sponsor them, number one. Number two is Big Fish Bait and Tackle. Number 3 is Donny's Excavation. Number 4 is the Incredible Kitchen Company.
Yep.
Number 5 is PI Plumbing. Number 6 is Asco Distribution. Number 7 is Harrison's Carpet One. Number 8 is Ross Reed Contractors. Number 9 is Interior Resources Limited. Number 10 is Strong Labour Hire. Number 11 is the Firm, obviously the Firm on the Hill.
The boys that sport well.
The boys taking the jersey.
Old boys.
Yeah, old young boys or young old boys. Pump Action Concrete at number 12. 13 is Wood Tech. Primero profiles, number 14, number 15, Liquorland Howick, obviously been with us for a long time,
Yep.
Josh Granger, and keeping everyone happy at the end of the game. Bridgman Concrete, number 16, and Sparks Automotive for number 17.
Awesome.
So that's a big thing. Put the shout out for those guys, and I'd like to once again thank you and them as well for giving us the opportunities. We try really hard. Like you say, we're not the biggest club out there, but right across the board, everyone's trying really hard for the Hornets, you know.
Cool.
Yeah.
And looking just on that, Ross Reed Construction for the number 8, Tony Tui. I understand he's back after a few weeks off.
Yeah, it's been tough for him, mate. Yeah, it's been on the sideline.
I'm pretty sure he's going to have a wee bit of an impact today. So what's the feeling? How are you going to go?
Look, we're going to give it everything today. We've got a lot to play for. The boys recognise the effort. Jeffro's a Centurion today. We've got a couple on the team. There'll be 3 playing today, and there's a couple more boys not far away as well. So I think what that shows you is that you can build momentum through loyalty and obviously sticking together with your mates and backing themselves through probably not always the best results. And that's 10 years of footy together. There's a lot that can happen, and I think this year we're really feeling like we're in a good spot to be.
Is Denny believing?
I always believe, mate. I love the footy, and a bonus is being good at it,
Yeah. Oh, cool. All right, well, look, I know you're busy, mate. You've been here probably half an hour before we turned up this morning, and ladies and gentlemen, that was at 6:30.
Yeah.
I want to thank you for hosting the Auckland Rugby League, mate, and best of luck with today's match. And we're going to get ready now to hand over to Corey Rosser as we get the coaches in. Ladies and gentlemen, don't go too far away as the action starts to mount.
Okay, with me now, Sean Clark, head coach of the Howick Hornets. Well, Sean, a brilliant season, really. Come to an end, the winning streak last week against the Otahu side. Talk us through it. Was it that they were really good, or your boys a little bit off?
Look, Corey, every team we're playing at the moment is pretty much do or die, with the season the way it has been. Otahu wanted it just that little bit more than us. We had a chance to draw it at the end there. We missed the kick, so they pipped us by 2.
A rough run with injuries lately, but you get some handy players back today. I think Tony Tuia makes his return, so a big in for you guys.
Yeah, Tony's back, I think, 5 games out since the bye round. He hasn't played. Definitely a good addition to the team. But like I said, every other week we've had boys that have stepped in and, done the job for us. So I think Tony, he's a big part of our club and a big part of our team. He's up for this game just as much as any other game, but his old mate Jethro having his 100th game, I think it's going to be even bigger for him.
Yeah, you mentioned Jethro, 100 games today for the club. I think you've been involved with Jethro over the years with a couple of different teams. I mean, just talk us through what a player he is and maybe the things that we don't get to see on the field that Jethro does so well.
Yeah, I played with Jethro when I was at Manurewa. Jethro, great man on and off the field. True leader, leads by his actions more than his words. But the words he does say, everybody sits back and listens, and he definitely gets the boys going.
And he seems like the kind of guy that, he can rock up at pre-season and you just know he's going to be ready. Seems to take really good care of himself. Is he very much sort of at the top end of professionalism in that respect? Yeah,
definitely. I think he's one of the guys that, does the extras on and off the field. I think he's at the gym every morning. One of our players, Jordan, has opened his own gym, and I think he goes there every morning before he's a school teacher, so they start a bit later, so he gets those, luxury hours to go to the gym.
All right, looking ahead to today, you come up against the Glenora team who really came right back to form last week, a big win over the Mount Albert Lions. What are you expecting from the Bears today?
Look, with the Bears, you know what you're going to get. Their forward pack is probably their strength, but in saying that, they've definitely got the outside backs as well that can finish for them. So if we can, limit their chances with the ball in our green zone, then, hey, look, we're in for the chance. And, I'm expecting, really tough battle today. So hopefully it is that, and we can come out on the top of the ledger.
From your team's point of view, what's the real focus for you guys today?
Playing for 80 minutes, we're sort of coming in and out of games lately. We're playing some really good patches, and then we go and let ourselves down and, think that we can just come back and score a try once another team scored. So if we can limit those sort of opportunities that we're giving those other teams and, keeping it in their red zone, as you say it, then I think we're really going to come out with a really good result today.
Excellent. All right, Sean, thanks for joining us. We're going to let you go, and good luck for today.
Thanks, Corey.
Okay, now joined by Rossi Willie from the Glenora Bears. Well, Ross, a wonderful performance last week to beat a Mount Albert team that had been in pretty good form themselves. What did you like about last week, mate?
Corey, I like the high energy and the positive attitude that our team brought to the game. We've been working. We had a good workout on the week before we played Mount Albert, and things are starting to look a bit positive, and the attitude that the boys brought was the most paramount thing that brought us that win on last Saturday.
Very much a different look team to what you had last year, and even probably in the opening rounds of this year. I mean, has it taken a little while, I guess, for those combinations to click?
Yeah, it has. You notice that we were big and robust last year, and we lost a lot of size this year. But like I said, the boys' attitude towards trainings now in the last 6 weeks has really stamped a mark on the progression of what they're doing now. The only thing is that we had to wait around and see what the combinations that we get together. But once we had some trust in the boys and some faith from us to give these boys a chance, and they've turned up aces for us. So we're really excited about today's game as well.
Huge 2 points on the line. That battle for the top four right now is very, very close. But the Root Rooster as well, which of course you guys held for a long time in recent years. Have you spoken about that at all this week?
No, we haven't spoken about the Root Rooster or what. I think in the back of the minds of our players, they know that today's game is an important game, so they know what to do. And the leadership group has also pushed it home to the players. So it hasn't come from the coaching staff in regards to Root, but I think the boys have been talking about it amongst themselves, and it shows that their trainings, they were focused and they worked really hard. So to them, it's another game of football. To us, it's, I'd love, as a coach, I'd love the 2 points. And that's something that we're going to work towards too, and try and get the Root Rooster home to us.
Just on some of the young guys you got on your squad, a lot of them have come through our SAS College Rugby League, and we've called them in action for Kelston or other teams. Can you, I guess, maybe pick out one or two that have really impressed you with their work this year, and tell us a little bit about them?
Oh yes, young Kenneth Fonoti, who's had a few games for us. He's just come in leaps and bounds. There's a few more others. There's young Ezra Tuawi. He came on and we weaned him in on the bench as well as a second rower, which was an eye-opener for these boys. But in saying that, it goes back to the Kelston League team that won the national. That was a good thing about the development, is where we had. I don't mind, we had Francis Malley back then last year that brought the boys together, and they went and did the comp, and they won the nationals. So part and parcel of networking outside of the club with players is something that we're looking to enhance on in the years to come.
All right, Howick Hornets today. I think 10 wins in a row. They lost one last week. They'll be hurting from that. What's the message for your team in terms of what you want from the boys today?
It's the 3 Fs. It's just focus, and get the job done. They've come off a loss, so we know Howick's going to come out pretty with all their guns firing and everything, but it's about weathering the storm and weathering what they throw at us, and then reassess that in the second half. But I think we just got to tackle hard and run hard, and that's the only thing that's going to take them out. I see that the old big fellas, Tony's making his comeback after 6 weeks, so we'll see how he goes.
There we go, and it is, of course, a simple game, rugby league. You run hard, you tackle hard, you tend to do all right. All right, Ross, we're going to let you go. We're going to throw out to the field, but on behalf of the Auckland Rugby League, Ross, all the very best today, and we'll talk to you in a couple of weeks.
Cheers, thanks, Corey.
Excellent.
Thank you.
Welcome in, ladies and gentlemen. Corey Rosser joined in commentary, as always, by Troy Hardy. Pleased to be bringing you today's SAS Fox Memorial Premiership clash between the top of the table, Howick Hornets, and the Glenora Bears, who are back inside the top four in this battle, which just shapes as being really a mouth-watering one right down to the final day of the season, Troy, and we're going to look at the ladders soon. But really, it's fair to say that if you're on the edge of that top four right now, every single week, it's not a must-win, but it's so important that you get a good performance.
Absolutely. It's a white-knuckle ride, and it's changed from week to week. And, we're seeing a new top four who are in and then out and then back in again and gives other teams opportunities. But you're right, this is definitely going to be a cliffhanger, and really looking forward to it.
Attempt 2.0 really for us here at Paparoa Park. Of course, we're here a few weeks ago in a howling gale, which was really howling, probably doesn't quite do it justice, and unfortunately had to cancel it. But nice to be back here, Troy, and I know from a crowd point of view, and certainly from the way the club looks after us and rallies around the live stream, certainly a place we always enjoy coming to.
Yeah, absolutely, and it's a big day today. Big shout out to Clayton Friend and the family. Dad of Jethro, and you'll touch on that a wee bit later on today. Big 100 game for him is a special occasion, but they certainly know how to turn it on down here. And when there's not 50 k's of gusting winds blowing through the place, and we're able to live stream. You only have to look at the pictures on your screen today. It's just a fantastic day for rugby league. So if you're in the area, get down here to the Howick Hornets.
Okay, running you through some of the results. We'll start with the Fox Championship, and there were some interesting results last weekend. That competition shaping has been a brilliant one as well, and I guess at front and centre of that was the Te Aratu Roosters, a perfect 2 from 2. They just squeaked past the Ellerslie Eagles, and what I understand was a really, really good game. They win that one 26 points to 24. Bayroskal get up 30-10 over Manurewa, a big win for the Vikings, who are now top of that competition. Papakura get up 40-20 over Richmond, and Hibiscus Coast and Pukekohe can't be split in a 26-all draw.
Wow.
From those results, Troy, I guess the one that jumps out to me, the Te Aratu Roosters, but also the Papakura Sea Eagles, who appear to have found a little bit of form in the championship.
Yeah, and they needed to, being in that part of the in the competition now, they would be fair to say they're the big dogs, and they certainly need to, stamp their authority. Interesting with Te Aratu, they're tracking along very, very nicely, and I was told that they absolutely thumped Ellerslie Eagles.
Well, that's not what the scoreboard suggests. And if you are wondering out there, that's my colleague having a sly dig at our other colleague, TJ Ashford. Shout out to TJ and the Eagles, again going to battle today. But I think that competition as a whole, and we're seeing it with the Fox now as well, really the cream of the crop has been concentrated, and as a result, we're getting great footy every week.
Yeah, absolutely. And, we have such a really cool job at the ARL because over the next few weeks, have we got some mouth-watering, tingling clashes coming up. And we'll unveil that or unroll that out over the next 48 hours. But there's some really cool back-to-back rugby league action that you're going to see on ARL TV.
Okay, we'll take you to the Fox Championship ladder next, and just looking at the games that are going on in the Crown Lift Trucks Fox Championship today. And Ellerslie are at home to Bayroskal. That's a huge clash for the Eagles. Again, it's not a must-win mathematically, but certainly they need to get things going quickly. They are only 2 points out of that top 4, though, so still plenty of time to go. But a big match for both teams. Bayroskal looking to protect their position at the top of the table. Richmond are at home to Te Aratu, another good test for Te Aratu against a First Division opponent. Pukekohe take on Papakura. Now, it'll be a fair while, I think, since those two teams would have met at first team level at least, and I know there's a lot of boys that will know each other well there. That clash happening at Karaka Sports Park, and Manurewa, they're at home to the Hibiscus Coast. And if we turn our eyes to the ladder, the outstanding teams so far, Bayroskal, Papakura and Te Aratu, a perfect 2 from 2 to start. Richmond with that round 1 victory sitting in there. Pukekohe with that draw have put themselves back to within 1 point along with Hibiscus, and then at the bottom it is Ellerslie and Manurewa. And Troy, if you're looking at that ladder right now, any real surprises there from your point of view?
Well, from the chat from my work colleague, Ellerslie being in 7th, that's probably a shock for him. Bayroskal, Papakura up the top there, looking really tidy, and Te Aratu, I think, are definitely in the hunt. So good to see Richmond there holding in the 4th spot. And again, just can't pick it. Each week there's going to be another upset. There's going to be another fantastic win for one of these teams. And, the ladder chops and changes every week.
Okay, turning our attention now to the First Division, the SAS Fox Memorial Premiership results from last weekend. And Otahu got up 22-20 over the Howick Hornets. So Otahu really sort of starting to forge a reputation as the giant killers of this competition, just coming along really nicely. And off the back of that really strong forward pack. And I know the belief is strong at Otahu, and I know the feeling in Auckland League circles might be that maybe they're an underdog compared to some of the other teams, but they don't feel that way at the Leopards. They feel very much like a top 4 team.
I got a lot of admiration and respect for Connor Purcell. I mean, he's just an intense young man, and when he's on the job, he's on the job. He leads that team very, very well, and we saw that in the Mount Albert match. They were down and out with 100 seconds to go, and they managed to, snuffle that just on the death. So Otahu, make no mistake, they're they're a bloody good football team, and you need to be on your best game when you come up against them at the back end of the season.
The Glenora Bears, they get up big over the Mount Albert Lions, 40 points to 4, and Mangere East and Marist, they clashed in a funny old game, and I think it was something like 26-0, I think, at halftime to Mangere East. They absolutely blew them away. But as has become a real trend this season, the Hawks just struggle to put two 40-minute periods together, and Marist overrun them in the end. A great victory in the end for the Marist Saints, which really keeps their hopes alive. Slim hopes at this stage, you would think, of making that top 4, but still in the race as it is. And then the final game was our live stream game. Now, the Northcote Tigers really put in a brilliant performance here, and just driven off desire, and it appeared just sticking word for word to the game plan.
Yeah, and from desire was probably the big key factor on that. They worked hard for each other in the defence, and I think their line speed on that was one of the key tools, one of the key weapons that they had on the day. Everybody was working extremely hard and slowing down the Pirates, getting like rush defence, trying to keep all the big boys at bay. And how good was Patrick Sipley, seeing him back, moving bodies around the Walker Park arena. So they've done very, very well, and I think that puts them in good stead because they've still got a couple of big bodies to come back.
They do indeed, and you mentioned nice to see Patrick back. One of the real good Auckland Rugby League stories of the recent years. Went over to Queensland, was doing well over there, came back for family reasons, and I think in his first game back makes 2 line breaks. Would love to have seen his yardage count. Got through a whole lot of work, and he's only going to get better as he adjusts to his new teammates again. So nice to see a few of the boys returning, and hopefully we might see a few more players returning to the Auckland comp as we get to the business end. Okay, a big clash that's on today is the Northcote versus Mount Albert match. Now they're going to play for the inaugural Zay Wallace Memorial Cup. This is a lovely touch, and I do want to take some time to thank both chairs, Mark and Bobby from the two clubs, for putting this together, and I think Chock and Dizzy did a little bit of work in the background on that one as well. Zay Wallace, of course, played for both clubs, and I think this is a really nice, fitting memorial for Zay. It'll be played for twice a year, so the first winner of the cup will be decided today. Marist, they host Otahu. That should be a nice little game there. Marist have really started to show that they can put some good football together, but again, much like Mangere East, they're struggling to do it for 80 minutes right now. Our game today, Howick versus Glenora, and then Mangere East up against Point Chevalier. Well, last time we did this one, Troy, Point Chevalier, they raced out to, I think it was a 30-0 lead, and then Mangere East sort of fought their way back into it, and I dare say, despite where they sit on the ladder, you would think this is maybe a one-sided affair. I'm not sure it'll be that way. It'll certainly be entertaining at the very least.
Absolutely, and look, that game that you alluded to, how good was Lamoni in the halves for Mangere East? I mean, he certainly laid it on that day, and just a fabulous footballer. So everyone's got their moment in the sun, and as we've said at the top of the live stream, the top 4's chopping and changing every week. So it ain't over yet, and we're only sort of near the halfway mark.
That's right, and a look at the ladder now, and with victory last week and with Howick losing, Northcote jump equal first, but trailing on differential right now. And those two at the top have really built up a nice little buffer between themselves and the bottom there, and you would think within the next couple of weeks we should really know where those two are going to end up sitting, with 6 points already between themselves there. Of course, those top 2 spots so important as it changes whether or not you face a sudden death semi-final. And Glenora, with victory last week, they jumped back into 3rd position, but there's a little bit of a log jam on there, tied with Otahu, Mount Albert and Point Chevalier. So when we said before that not every game is a must-win, really, if you're dropping points at this stage with, I think, 4 rounds to go in the regular season, certainly going to be costly. Marist, with a whole lot of work to do, they really need to win every game from here on in, you would think. And Mangere East, with that loss last week, have left themselves in some trouble at the bottom. So all looking good here, Troy, and can't wait to bring some of the games that we're going to for the remainder of the season. And you look at the draw every week right now, and there's no bad games. It's a joy to pick, and we're very lucky to be in a position to call it every week. It'll
be interesting to see, who the top 2 teams would be for next week and whether that would be the game of the round. I guess you're going to have to wait and see. aucklandleague.co.nz.
A little bit of mystery to leave you on as we build towards kickoff here. All right, just minutes away, ladies and gentlemen. And before we get into the team list, we'll wait until the teams start to make their way out. We are going to acknowledge Jethro Friend and his marvellous achievement today, 100 games for Howick and the Fox. And we will touch on some of his achievements as well as they come out. But our match officials today, it looks like Anthony Elliott's going to have the middle, and Corey Jewell and Joseph Green to assist him. Anthony Elliott, had him for the last few weeks, of course, back from the NRL levels, Jersey Flag and Cup competitions in recent times. Nice to have Anthony back on the scene as well, and really cool to see Chris McMillan with some involvement as well. So there it is on screen, ladies and gentlemen. Jethro Friend, 100 games for the Howick Hornets. Spent some time with Manurewa as well, played a number of games there. Represented Auckland last year, captained Auckland, which I know was a hugely proud moment for him, given what Dad Clayton had done previously over the years as well. And he comes from a great rugby league family, lucky enough to know his brother Bodie very well, works for the Warriors, and of course Bubs, Kathy, grandma, really, the queen of Auckland Rugby League. There's no other way to put it. And of course Clayton for all that he did for the Auckland game. So well done, Jethro Friend. He's been a mainstay of this Howick Hornets team. He is one of the best players running around in the Fox, and really leads the way with his professional attitude. And I'm sure if Howick are to get the job done again today, he will be front and centre of that. There's the Glenora Bears on screen. Suape Kavaliku in the number 8 jersey as they wait for the Howick Hornets to make their way out. And here he comes, Jethro Friend, for the 100th time, makes his way out in a Howick Hornets jersey. Guard of Honour set up there, and how good to see Coach Sean Clark in the Guard of Honour, as well as some of the junior ball boys. So here come the Hornets, enjoying their best season in a long time at First Division level. There is quiet optimism here at Paparoa Park that this year could be the year, after back-to-back years of cruel semi-final exits. The Howick Hornets travelling very nicely right now, sitting at the top of the ladder. Jethro Friend makes his way out to go through the pre-match routine, and so they'll do the toss here. Looks like Phil Kingy's going to captain the Glenora team. So we'll bring up the team list now and take you through them. Starting with the home side, the Progressive Scaffolding Howick Hornets. Peter Olivetti is the fullback, Latu and Simeon on the wings, Fuimono and Gillett in the centres, Prendergast and Carlos Hortony are the halves, and they get Tony Tuia back this week. I think he'll come off the bench, but named in the number 8. Friend will captain the side, and it's Nahu Main, Vuiti Bao, Wilson, Jordan Papa on the bench, and Scott Jones and Trent Bishop, who add some real size to the middle of the park. They'll come off the interchange as well, although likely one of those guys will start in place of Tony Tuia, who I think Sean Clark said will be coming off the bench today in his return from injury. Turning our attention to the Glenora Bears, Wyatt Rangi, the super impressive youngster at fullback, Mosia Serra, who's been in good form of late, Yoka and Phil Kingy in the halves. Zach Tippins will be the dummy half. It'll be Kingy to captain though. And in the back row, Vasu Vualangi, who's in good form. Yoka is named at lock. Remains to be seen where he will play. And then off the bench, likes of Fitiora Davis, Graham Suapo adding a little bit of size. All right, all ready to go, ladies and gentlemen. A big clash in the SAS Fox Memorial Premiership. It's going to be Phil Kingy who gets us underway, and the Howick Hornets to have first use of the football. Into it we go. Live and free on aucklandleague.co.nz. The Hornets coming off a disappointing result last week, going down to Otahu in a close one. But will be well and truly pumped up for this one, knowing that the Root Rooster is on the line. They've held that for a number of weeks now, and will have no intention of letting that go. I think after this, they've got 2 or 3 more defences to go as Wilson bumps the ball forward and gets hit hard by Kavaliku. Williams now on the charge. He's got 4 Bears hanging off him. Friend jumps out, steals a few, almost sells him on a dummy and then goes to ground, but he's already made about 15 metres by then. A good first touch for Jethro Friend in terms of a run. Swings it out the back now and they get to their kick. A tester here, but Fornoti takes it nicely. And the Glenora Bears now get their first use of the football. Here's Wyatt Rangi, who we saw in action back in round 1 at Mount Smart Stadium. He had a blinder of a game on that day. He's another of the Kelston boys who have come through into this team, and nice to hear Ross Ueli as well acknowledge the brilliance that has been on show for Kelston over the last few years and how that is now filtering through into the Fox team at the Glenora Bears. Tippins moves play to his left. This is Chase Bernard. Glenora, big winners last up, 40 points to 4 over the Mount Albert Lions. They'll be hoping that can really kickstart their run home. Bernard's lost the boot there. In the meantime, Rangi now gets to his kick. A creative play there from Glenora. Now, was there a knock on there? Play on the call from Elliott. Did look like there were hands on it. Certainly the ball was rolling around a little, but play on the call, and now Howick will look to ruck this ball forward via Anthony Foimono. Now, Troy, one thing that really you don't need too much analysis to, I guess, break down the fact that two massive forward packs on display here today. It's two strengths of both teams, really. Really looking forward to that battle in the middle of the park.
Absolutely, and one of them has got twinkle toes, and that'll be the arrival of Tony Tuia coming back onto the park for the Howick Hornets. Really good to see, in the first stanza of the couple of minutes here, both teams completing their sets, and good body contact on, and both teams trying to wrestle hard on the ground as well, flipping them over on their back. And away we go again with the Hornets as they complete a set and they get the kick away.
So Hortony looks high. Rangi is under, takes it nicely and returns it and gets hit low there, Wyatt Rangi. Jumping out of dummy half now via Mosia Sierra, 22-year-old. He's a Glenora junior, featured for the Akarana 18s and formerly part of that Vodafone Junior Warriors setup as well. Tippins to Kavaliku. Kavaliku driving those legs, and he's got 4 Howick defenders on him and still stays on his feet. Brilliant strength from Big Suape. Tippins to Kingi. Vasuvulangi now spaced on the right edge. They break free via Poli. Hit the ground 15 out from the line. The dummy half now for Naughty. Comes centre field. Kingi. Bernard. Yoka. Looping ball. They're going coast to coast here. They break down the left. A little ball through, and it just breaks down at the death. It was well constructed by Glenora, looking to move this Howick team around early, but Howick scramble in nicely that time. I think Carlos Hortony involved in that one and come to the rescue, but enterprising stuff from the Bears.
Yeah, the initial shift on the right-hand edge, great hands, popped it on really quick and created an opportunity, and they swung back to the left, and that ball had gone to hand over on the left-hand side. Be fair to say they probably got to hit 4 points on the board.
Royden Gillett spent some time with the Mount Albert Lions, but back at Howick, where he landed after being part of that NRL rookie show a couple of years ago. Big, strong carry through the middle, and Paulie ended up getting hit. Wasn't expecting that one, but felt the full wrath of Joshua Simeon. Friend to Prendergast, under pressure again, and they have done really well in that area today, and they force an error. Kick out on the full and put it down to an excellent kick pressure from the Glenora Bears, and they did get there on the first 2 kicks of the game as well. That's obviously a focus point today. And that time they force the error, so it'll be a scrum to pack down, and this will pack down 30 metres out from the line.
A lot of chat coming from the Bears as the ball goes in the scrum.
Yoka is the first receiver, and then Rangi, who plays in, and
Good
again, Paiu. Quick play the ball as well. They're only 20 out now. Here come the Bears, charging through the middle of the park. Pawhairangi Charlie, taking 12 down. Kavaliku. Little change of direction, Suape! Just about caught them that time, and ball's come loose. There was multiple people in that tackle. Knock on the call. Message from Elliot, just because he ends up with it doesn't mean it was stripped, and to be fair, I didn't get a good enough look to make a determination on that one. But knock on from Kavaliku, the call, and the Howick Hornets turn the ball over inside their 10 for the second time in this match. 6.5 minutes gone, and it is yet to be any points in this match, but already you can feel that these are two teams in really good form here. The pace of the game is good. They're bringing different styles. Looks like Glenora keen to move the football around as much as they can, and Howick mostly through the middle of the park so far in the couple of sets we've seen. Hornets now working it out to this left edge. 40 off their own line. Friend to Prendergast. Hands off and links with Brandon Lee. Haven't made too much in the way of yardage on that particular play. Friend now brings Williams, I should say, in at a little bit of pace. Clayton Williams, who's played a lot of football this year for the Vodafone Warriors Cup side. They get to the kick. Dinked over the top between winger and fullback. Rangi is back to scoop it up, looks up and sees nothing but yellow and blue jerseys, and is then decked to ground and leading the charge. None other than Nick Wilson, playing in the 13 today. We know him mostly as an edge player, but he's so hard-working, he'll be able to do a job for you in the middle of the park, no problems at all. And I think that change triggered by the absence of Reece Charlie today. Picked up a bit of an ankle injury. Tippins brings Bernard in. Bernard, little change of direction, and Bernard goes through. Great carry from Chase. Taken down on halfway. Howick do their best to slow it down. Rangi to Yoka. Yoka looks up, little half gap. Broken line now for the Howick Hornets. Nice little run there from Zion. 30 out. Tippins goes to his left. Rangi, little chip over the top, and out on the full is the call. It breaks down in the end for the Glenora Bears, and once again we'll have a handover. But one thing we are noticing already, Troy, Glenora going heavily to that left edge. They obviously like their chances down that side.
Yeah, and just in background play there, and he's getting attention from the trainer, Nick Wilson, is he? So back here earlier, one of the players stood roughly on, I think he's taken a leg injury. He's trying to shake it off in the background, so they're down a defender at the moment. And lucky they have the ball, because Glenora were starting to shift it around, as you were saying. And I think he's trying to walk it off as he can. No, he looks like he's gone off the back of the field. So back to the main action.
So we'll try and bring you an update on that one, a definitive ruling on what's happening with Nick Wilson. See if we can keep an eye on it. But in the meantime, Howick now working the ball out. This is Williams, who plays to Bishop. How did Bishop pick that one up? Almost off the bootlaces. Ball comes out the back. It's getting a little bit messy now for the Hornets. They need to just settle things a little.
Oh, he's fumbled it. It's gone. Both ways. Well, that was a shocker.
So Nick Wilson, for sure, making his way from the field, well spotted by Troy, and he is nursing a heavy limp. So you have to wonder if that will be all we see from Nick Wilson today, and all of a sudden, someone in the Hornets pack is going to have to pick up a whole lot of minutes.
And not just that, a whole heap of work in the centre too, because we've got some big boys in the Bears pack, and they've got to be tackled. One of the things I noticed with the Glenora guys at the moment, they're winning the deck on the wrestle. They're certainly tipping their, the attacking players over, and I think they're trying to slow the ruck speed down. And that's obviously part of Jethro's arsenal that he brings to the Howick Hornets, is the ruck speed and how he drives them around the field.
Tippins retrieves, hands straight off to Paulie. Vassal Valangi, back from time spent with the Townsville Blackhawks in the Queensland Cup competition. Now he's felt that one. Didn't catch what happened. I don't think there was a lot in it. Backed into the tackle, the call from the referee. Trainer on the field now.
Yeah, the Nick Wilson, as we see him over on the far side, they're just heading back towards the dugout. One of his players accidentally stood on his leg. I think might have sprigged him, or might have been one of the big second rows, and probably put his leg in the wrong position, and he looked real sore. So hopefully he comes good.
Kavaliku gets us back into it.
Another boot off.
Tippins. Bernard, nice little ball out the back. Yoka. Just about played Pawhairangi Charlie through a yawning gap. Held on to it that time. Tippins now is the dummy half. Again, it's Bernard. One of the best front rowers running around this guy. Such a consistent player. Never lets the Bears down. Tippins to Kingy. Kingy's got Vasu Valangi, who's shaken off that earlier knock. He throws a dummy. Flicks it out the back. Bishop's chasing. So is Rangi. Has no choice then but to hand it off. Was that Ford? Yoka now on the ball. Big cutout pass out to the left edge. This is Paiu now. A little bit of footwork. Ball comes loose, and for the third time in this game, the play breaks down the left edge for the Glenora Bears. Super eager to go there, but the Howick edge defence more than up to task so far.
Yeah, and probably just need a little bit of patience there. They looked like they had maybe a couple of escapes there with a couple of forward passes, just trying to force the ball around. Hornets got some work to do here, though, as they're inside the 10, just in the grind now.
Peter Olivetti driven back to where he started that time. Need a couple of good carries here, the Hornets. Look at this. Bishop puts the head down, grits the teeth, and tries to go forward. Friend jumps out now, finds a little half gap using the offside player, and then wrestled to ground by Tippins. That was one-on-one, but knock on the call. One-on-one, there was nothing wrong with it, but the ball is knocked on.
Hit him, mate, when you're ready.
Gillett. So was that the little helping hand the Hornets needed? They're finally out of their own end. Now need to make good use of it. Bishop had Williams with him in tow. That's a hell of a 1-2 punch. Friend now is the dummy half. Will move play to the right. Prendergast. Then over the top to Gillett, who has his winger come back in field, and then a little bit of footwork. They're still going here, the Hornets. They're rolling, and here comes one of their best attacking chances, although the ball comes loose. Who is it knocked on by? Hornets is the call, which means it's Glenora's football. Bernard now taking the ground. Langi. Oh! Trent Bishop!
Welcome to the nest. That was a good eye too, Corey. That was in stereo, that one, my friend.
That one will make the highlight reel. Poor old Wyatt Rangi. That's possibly why fullbacks don't usually carry the ball in that position. Trent Bishop had him lined up. Suape. Oh, Suape dishes one out the other way. Tippins to Kingy. Kingy to Vasu Vulangi. Hands up over the top now. Fanote into a little bit of space. He wanted the flick pass there, and the ball was in position. Here's Paulie. Clears the ruck, finds Kingy, and Kingy will go off the side of the boot. And a difficult one to handle here for Peter Olivetti, who does so nicely and takes the ball down. He's a real classy presence to have at the back, Peter Olivetti. Seen him play for a few different teams over the last few years as the Howick Hornets now get a penalty and another leg up. Phil Kingy wants to have the chat. So Hortony to kick for touch. He represented Auckland back at the start of June. Had a really good game as well.
I wonder if that's heading over the CTAS camera, boys. Right down in front of us here at the 50-metre mark. And we couldn't get any closer to this action unless I went out there and took the tap for them, Corey.
Wouldn't mind seeing you and Suape go at it for a tackle.
Swappy's my mate. I'd be running off Tony deep.
Oh, Bernard again leading the contact.
Yeah, he's showing some intent today, isn't he? See, holding down.
Williams, great carry. 20 out from the line now, just about centre field here. They'll go to the right. Hortony, short to Vuoti Bow, to Olivetti. Olivetti, Peter Olivetti.
Loving it.
Lovely stuff down the right-hand side. Now hang on.
No, you got it down.
Oh, boy, oh boy. Created some doubt when he probably didn't need to that time, Peter Olivetti. Let's take a look at the SAS replay.
And as we see the action here, got a nice little offload here, but basically sold the dummy there, bought the farm, got the ball in the right hand, able to fend if he needed it. He already had the finger up to point, I'm on that way, and smiling, yep. And at this point really should have put it down. He sort of slipped here, back down, try. And we wait for the kick to come. So that's called like a reversed 3 1/4 tuck turn and then drop down and plant the ball. Help me out.
I'll take your word for it.
Help me out.
I was more worried about the rather large defender who was right in front of him that he wasn't looking at. And got it down in the end, Olivetti.
He had 2 on him, but great try. And, you know, all the action replays, ladies and gentlemen, you'll be able to catch them on the ARL TV YouTube channel. And to get to that, just hit www.aucklandleague.co.nz.
Kick is good off the boot of Latu, and the Hornets, after weathering a real storm to start this match, it had been all Glenora through the first probably 13, 14 minutes, and it's just off the back of a dropped ball and then a penalty. The Howick Hornets managed to get down this end of the park, and a classy finish from Olivetti in the end after some good work through the middle of the park, and Clayton Williams at the forefront of it.
Yeah, and you'd have to say, you know, probably the momentum was going the Bears' way there. And, you know, the Hornets certainly got out amongst the trend there, and Olivetti turns out to be a strike weapon. So look for more for him during this half.
Williams looks up, looks for a smaller body. There's not too many of them in this Glenora team. Friend, nice quick play of the ball. Centralise it now via Brandon Lee, I think it is. Bishop. Great to see these big men attacking in twos. You quite often see when Bishop's carrying, Williams will be on his shoulder or vice versa. Jethro Friend looking to punish them from dummy half.
Still going.
Ioka then wrestles him to ground, does his best to pin him. Jethro says that's not very nice. Bishop now jumps out of dummy half. He's having a good game already, Trent. And Jethro takes a tumble, perhaps well milked that time. Back up to the feet. Lee goes out the back. They'll get to their kick here. Fanoti under it. Brings it back, and Prendergast on hand to pick him up. That was a bit of a funny one there. Jethro Friend took a tumble. Certainly there was a player in the way. I'm not too sure if the fall was natural or not, but anyway, there was no penalty forthcoming.
Bears really just trying to settle it here. One off the ruck, try and get some composure. Doesn't get any bigger than that composure, just rolling through the park.
Graham Suapoya onto the field. Hard to miss. Vasu Valangi. Kingy set to the left. That's where they'll go. And he will kick. Dinks it over the top. Space between winger and fullback. Bounces up kindly in the end for the Howick Hornets. And now they break down the left-hand side, but well reeled in by Fanoti. And a knock-on.
There's a plead for it.
So Glenora ball.
Just looking to the bench over the far side there for the Hornets. The imminent return. And a little boy waits.
Better tell us who you're waiting for.
Well, a little boy be Tony Toure over there, and probably just picking his time on what minutes he's going to get. It'll be up to the head coach, Sean, as Glenora Bears feed the scrum. Here they come.
Yoka. Poe. Quick hands. Rangi. Space on the left. It's forward.
That's what my ooh was probably indicating, because it maybe, you know, looked like it was miles forward on our angle. But the referee sort of chirped up and said, yep. So we get the reset over on the far side there next to the grandstand.
Nick Wilson running in the background there. Just caught him in the corner of the shot. He looks to be running unhindered now. So a good chance to re-enter the field, you would think.
They've done well without his defensive skill on the field.
Hortony hands it off to Simeon for the first carry. Got some size on the outside backs today, the Howick Hornets. Boy, oh boy. Nahu Main.
Oh,
Breaks down. And now knocked on by Howick. Glenora ball. Zero tackle the call. Keep inviting them back in. Joseph Lam now onto the field. Here's Suapoi. Earned the penalty as well.
just tap and go.
Pawhairangi Charlie will get the set started. They're only 20 out from the line here, the Hornets. The Bears, I should say. Tippins, first receiver. Then hands off to Bernard. Bernard is put down in front of the SAS uprights. Options left and right. Now Lamb is the dummy half. Tippins. Yoka. Rangi. Trying again down the left. This time a result.
Ref.
This time Mosia Serra scores. They'd gone there 4 or 5 times. Kept getting turned away, kept coughing up errors, but this time Mosia Serra slides over and gets Glenora on the board.
And we have a look at the SAS Sporting replay here, and you can see it shifting along the back line. And that last pass will be the interesting one. Just here. Ran onto it well. 4 points over in that left-hand corner. And the referee, the official, was Johnny on the spot. Try awarded. Bears in on the left edge, 4 points, and difficult kick from the far edge over there, getting ready to tee up. And you'd have to say, you know, in these sort of games, Corey, every point counts, so they'll be wanting to get their conversions.
Yeah, it's got that feel about it that it's probably going to end up being maybe a 4 or 6 point game. So if you can turn the 4s into 6s, always handy, right up against the sideline for this one.
And here he is, the imminent return. He's just walked out to the halfway mark and introduced himself to everyone.
Talking about Tony Tuia, by the way, if you're wondering. If you hear Troy marvelling at the antics of someone in this game, chances are it will be Tony.
He brings the marvel. He's a superhero.
So the kick no good, and remains Howick Hornets 6, Glenora Bears 4.
Yeah, this is going to change the dynamic somewhat. And just checking to see if Nick's back on. He's talking to them all. Yeah, the ball's gone now. He's making himself welcome.
Kingy, Bernard, Suapol. Now Lamb, the dummy half, will link with Bernard. Bernard takes it forward. Leading the charge was Williams on the contact. Voiti Bau in there as well. A few boys on this Howick team who have played at higher levels and come back to bolster this fall pack. And it is the pack that is the strength of this team. That's been the case for a number of years. Nalam to Kingy. Kingy will drive this kick down towards Olivetti and again takes a deceptive bounce, but Peter onto it and scoops it up, runs straight back into the shoulder of Solomon Vasuvulangi. Hornets struggling to get back now. There's hardly anyone there to take a carry as they make their way back into the line. This is Simeon, who's had some nice touches from out wide, looked to involve himself so far. Friend. Change of direction at the line. Scott Jones, one-time Vodafone warrior, been over in Perth, Western Australia for a couple of years. Howick get to their kick now, up over the top. It's a good kick as well, and work to do here for Kenneth Fonoti. Wairangi looks out, struggles to get away from the defender. And they're trapped inside their own 20 right now, the Bears, after 3 tackles.
Yeah, Hornets seem interested in kicking down to that left-hand pocket, don't they?
Howick doing a really good job to trap them here. Unless something dramatic happens in the next play or two, Glenora are going to end up kicking from deep in their own territory here. There's a good carry, though, from Graham Suapol. Oh, just about a knock on there. Kingy gets to his kick. Olivetti on
Good
the full.
hands.
Brings it straight back at them, but the chase is brilliant from Glenora. Royan Gillett checks out of the first one. Open space now for Gillett, but Rangi, brilliant down low. Legs and all tackle. Hortini, Voiti Bau. Space on the right now. Links with Foimo. Oh no! Quick hands again. Paulos Latu. Taken into touch. Great stuff from the Bears.
Bit of an appeal going on. So having a wee bit of a chat. Mind a little bit of time there as we get ready for the scrum to pack in.
Front rows down. Second. Last man binding. Break.
And here come Glenora inside the tent, looking to grind it out. Another appeal.
Loose up, mate. If you come in with that, you've got to make sure there's nothing near his head. Hit his head. Yeah.
Corey will pick up the commentary.
Here we are, boys. Here's our mark. Just make sure everyone's on.
Penalty to the Glenora.
Penalty, yeah.
On the line. Thanks, Joey. Here we are, boys. On the tap, guys.
Whanangi Charlie gets the set started again.
Get up, buddy. Get up, buddy. Move. Well. Oh, go.
Half an hour gone. It's the Hornets who lead 6-4. Graham Suapol.
80. 8 up. Oh, go. That's 2.
Nalam
Play on.
had Kavaliku on his left, instead went himself.
Oh. Release. That's 3.
Through the middle now comes Fitiora Davis.
Death row. Up. Oh, go. That's 4.
Nalam, Kingy, Vasuvulangi. Little change of direction now. Solomon goes centre field. Look at that for a carry.
That's the final. Release.
12 out from the line. Last tackle coming up. Lam looks centre field. Kingy goes out the back. Links with Yuka. Flat at the line. Again down the left and another try. Phoenix Paiu over in the left-hand corner. A lovely ball initially from Kingy it was. And then a Yuka with a nice touch in there as well. And the Bears go for the second.
SAS Sporting Replay, as Corey said, Phil Kingy's pass found the mark perfectly. That really created the opportunity out wide. Another big cutout pass. Looks like they're going to shift to that left-hand side all day. 4 points in over on the far corner there, next to the cemetery. And great finish. Well executed. As we wait for the kick to come.
So Zion with another tricky one. A little slightly easier, I should say, than the last one. Hits this one, and it's away again, so it will remain. Glenora 8, Howick Hornets 6. 32 minutes gone here at Paparoa Park. You're joining us for the SAS Fox Memorial Premiership. A big shout out to SAS Sporting Apparel for their continued support of the Fox, and of course the College Rugby League and Sharman Cup competitions. Off the leg, the call certainly was. As Fatura Davis then brings it back. Scott Jones, who's put himself about nicely in defence since coming onto the field. Lam now to Swape. Ioka goes to the line himself. Runs straight at Scott Jones. Kavaliku, his second carry of the set, runs it straight at Tony Tuia, who gets some help from Jethro friend Lake to slow it down, and then to Kingy. Again to Olivetti on the full. They're struggling to find grasp with these kicks here, the Glenora Bears, and as a result, Peter Olivetti's getting a 10 or 15 metre head start. Gillett jumps out now. Strong carry from Royden Gillett, and through the other side as well. Messi, knock on. No control of the call from the referees.
The Hornets just need to show a little bit of composure here. They're trying to up-tempo things down, you know, in a rush, just get a wee bit of a bobble on it.
Tony, have a word to him now. I've had enough already. Okay, that's fine. You can talk.
Elliot saying he's had enough of Tuia already, who was certainly leading the charge with the chat that time on that one. I'm not sure Jethro's going to have much luck keeping Tony quiet. Back to it we go. Glenora now. Few errors starting to creep in now for the Howick Hornets, which is putting them under a fair bit of pressure.
A little bit of intent starting to happen too from the Hornets side.
Swape Kavaliku. Davis to Jones. Jones bounced off initially, but then got help from a couple of teammates. Tuia and friend involved that time again. They're coming to the left edge. Pawhairangi Charlie gets hit low. and put straight to the deck. Nalam comes infield cover. Leku. Swape with the little swerve. Not going anywhere that time. Last play coming up. 4 to play in the half. Kingy. Back door. Taking the ground. And that'll be a handover ball.
It's not a quick play the ball, mate. Control. Just wait for me. I'll take the defensive line.
Just didn't really get the full execution of what they were trying to achieve there.
So Piero Olivetti rucks the ball forward. Need to start completing some sets here. The Howick Hornets has been their downfall over the last probably 10 minutes. Put themselves under all sorts of pressure. It's the reason they're behind right now. That try scored off the back of sustained pressure by the Glenora Bears. Voeti Bow gets decked by Zion Ioka. Oh, 5/8 shouldn't be able to do that. Incredible. Hotani then earns the penalty. Well, that was a fruitful 30 seconds for the Howick Hornets. They get the penalty, but what about that? Zion did not miss.
So I want to chew a few metres here.
On the tap, boys. Double them across the L. On the tap, guys. Keep going.
Anthony Fuimono. Yotala Scorpions Jr. Been with the club for a long time, and this time he's come up with a mistake on play one.
That's just heartbreaking.
Our seconds, boys. Yeah, good point. Let's just back it down. I got it. Throw it down. Right there. Seconds in. Death row in. When you're ready. Right.
So Glenora with another chance now to strike before half-time. Wyatt Rangi loops the ball over the top into a little bit of space down the right-hand side now. Kenneth Fanotti.
Go, that's one.
Paulie. Ball comes loose. One-on-one, strip the call. Now Royden Gillett bumps the ball forward. Well, turnovers each way here. The game ebbing and flowing. Tony Tuia. Hortony sticks his nose through. No gap there this time. That won't be the last time he does that today, Carlos Hortony. He's got great footwork. They bump it forward now via Brandon Lee. Former Pakuranga rugby man. Nalam causing a little bit of drama at dummy half that time. Jethro Friend then hit to ground under the weight of that man, Joseph Nalam. Swapi Kavaliku there as well. Hortony to Prendergast. Kicks in behind. Rangi's on the task. What's the chase like for Howick? It's not good enough. And Wyatt will escape at the end of it. Just watching Joseph Nalam, who has been agitating, probably fair to say, at dummy half. And it's looks like him and Tony Tui are having a little bit of to and fro in that time as well with Jethro Friend.
Release. Oh, go, that's two.
2 points the gap as halftime approaches.
Tony, up.
Karia Ioka, a national champion with Kelston last year. No more as a half. He's wearing the 13 today as we see a little,
11.
what would you call that, a slap?
No, just welcoming to the SAS box.
Swape's felt that one. Back to his feet eventually, but doesn't look in a great way. Ioka goes out the back. Paiu with the footwork, comes centre field. Jones comes across with a brilliant covering tackle. There goes the hooter. Will they get one more play in?
Thank you. I didn't hear it.
No, they won't. That's half-time. It is the Glenora Bears who lead 8 points to 6 over the Progressive Scaffolding Howick Hornets. A short break for us before we resume with the second half action here from Paparoa Park.
Sorry, mate. I'm not doing. I'm here to talk, mate.
everyone, welcome to this week's edition of ARL TV News. Let's take a look at what's happening around the grounds. The region of origin squads were named. We've got our upcoming holiday blasts and our live stream action. Region of origin squads named. All 14 wider squads have been named for the Region of Origin series coming up in September. In 2019, it's also the first time we've included girls' grades. Congratulations to all those selected. You can check out those lists at aucklandleague.co.nz. Holiday blasts. It's not too late to register for our upcoming July holiday blasts. Te Atatū will kick off this Thursday, followed by Como Park, which will run right through the second week of holidays. Register now at aucklandleague.co.nz. Live stream action. Catch us live this Saturday at Paparoa Park when we live stream Howick, who take on Glenora in round 3 of the SAS Fox Memorial Premiership. Kick-off at 2:30 p.m. And on Sunday, it's our Fairly Photos Women's Grand Finals. Tune in and check out Championship, the grand final that will take place between Te Atatū and Manukau at 12:30 p.m, followed by our grand final, the Premiership between Papakura and Richmond. Tune in live at aucklandleague.co.nz. Now we're going to throw away to some highlights.
Well read though by Point Chevalier. Last play now. Tamoti Cook appears out of the play, although they're going to go that way left. Tamoti Cook will kick in behind. It's loose. It gets left. And the Tigers open the scoring. Good position here, the Tigers. Bana, the makeshift dummy half. Tamoti Cook. Tiaho straightens. 10 out from the line. He's running the ball a lot today is Tiaho. Afu jumps out. Catches the napping. Josiah Afu doesn't look in great shape at all. Tuitupo will straighten. Bana just about went through the line. And someone wore an arm or an elbow. Afu. This is the way they're going to go. Tiaho. Locke looking to step his way through. Chris Seal sets upon him and he gets an offload away though. Waka. Got Waka to Watterson. Watterson in the far right corner. Passini to Latu, misses out Annandale, goes to Solomona who puts some footwork on, but Waka chops him down low. Fapito burrows, Fapito, yes he will! Sam Fapito, last play coming up now. Tamoti Cook, kicks back across the body, Machu Stone Dunn's there! Oh, Machu Stone Dunn! A lovely piece of play. Is the dummy half. They got options either side. They swing it to the right. Makawi, Annandale.
Wow, hands.
Faitotoa looked out on the live action. Points to the spot. It's a try. An enduring presence in the middle of the park.
Great running.
Now Kevin Locke. Look out. Locke looking to turn the afterburners on. Finds Tamoti Cook in support. North Coast are going to win. And Morgan Tamoti Cook scores under the posts to seal the deal. Oh, you must be very proud of that performance. You probably came here struggling a little bit for form as a team, but a great showing today.
Yeah, no, it was good. We talked about starting late. In the last few games, we've been starting too late in the second half, and it was important for us to get on the front foot in the first half and just go from the start, and we did that today, so it's good.
Had Eddie Finota out, but I thought a couple of your forwards in the middle of the park really stood up. Matt Tafutu probably top of that list.
Yeah. Matty's he's best off playing for us. Plays in the back row, plays loosely, plays prop, and big minutes for all our props. So it's good. Our forward pack really dominated them in the first half, especially. So yeah, it's good.
The game plan looked very much like you wanted to move the ball around a lot and I guess make the most of the dummy half opportunities. Was that the case?
Yeah, well, Pointshed's got a big pack. Everyone knows that. So we just wanted to move them and just make them tired. And I think it worked today. So yeah, it's good.
Well, a tough game there. Got your way back into it a couple of times, but what was missing today?
I guess no excuses today, but no. After being down to one sub after 10-15 minutes, it was pretty tough. But all full credit to Northcote. They came out. That's what we expected, a tough game. They came out a bit more energy in that than us. They got the 2 points, so we've got to take it on the chin and look forward to next week.
Welcome back. Let's take a look at the Premiership ladders to the Crown Lift Trucks Fox Championship. We've got a new leader on board. We've got Bay Roscoe at the top, followed by Papakura, and at the other end, Ellerslie and Manurewa. Now to the SAS Fox Memorial Premiership ladder. Howick and Northcote are both on 22 competition points, and at the other end, Marist and Mangere East. I'm Savannah Tafalebi, that's all this week, we'll see you around.
Jethro Friend from the Howick Hornets, catch all the action on aucklandleague.co.nz.
Morning, my name's Hilda Māori, I play for the Papakura Sea Eagles. Catch all the action at aucklandleague.co.nz.
Hi, Georgia Hale here from the Richmond Roses. Catch all the action on aucklandleague.co.nz this season.
Oli Masiaki, Glenora Bears. Make sure to catch all the actions on aucklandleague.co.nz.